Hello, and welcome to the Mini Mic Convos podcast with me, your host, your girl, Jen. I'm noticing the more I'm doing this, the more comfortable I'm getting and more relaxed I'm getting, so I'm not like super like, but yeah, so welcome. Welcome back if you watch these before and you come back every week. And if you're brand new, welcome. I'm happy to have you. I hope you're happy to be here. Let me switch over. I just filmed one episode because next week, my filming day that I do this, I don't get that half like I so a little bit about me is I film on Fridays. Well, next Friday I don't get a chance to film at all. So I'm just doing 2 episodes today. So I'm gonna be going next week without filming, which will be interesting to see if how to get back into the swing of it. But yeah, so if you watched last week and I look the exact same, that is why, because I just hit end on that video and hit start on this video. So last week I talked a lot about, really it was only a minute ago, but last week to you I talked about my photography. So I thought this week I could talk about my teaching and what I got into teaching and why I got into it, where I see myself going, and then depending on kind of what else and kind of see what time we at when I'm done talking about that. I might roll into what else I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get into the deets. Do people still say deets? I haven't said deets in years, and I just did. I ain't feeling fine. I'm weird today, apparently. So, I want to talk about my teaching because I just talked about my photography, and since both play a huge role into who I am and what I do, I figured I'd dedicate one video each to each one. But so I never in my entire life thought I would be a teacher. If you watched last episode, I kind of talked about like in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Uh I dropped out of college my first day. Well, right after my first class. I had a panic attack in my car and quit right then. I was done. Which thankfully I was able to get all my money back. So, woo! For my mom, because that's who paid for my college at that point in time, was my mom, because my dad didn't. So, I didn't work for quite a few years. I have a really bad anxiety disorder. Um, I have PTSD, I have depression, I have the works. That's what I like to call them. I got the works. Like when you go to a car wash and you're like, I need the everything bundle where you clean everything. That's me with my mental health. So I'm like, I got the works. Um, and I'm sorry if that offends you because to some people, mental health is not a joke. It's not to me, but that's how I cope with a lot of my trauma. Is I joke a lot and make jokes about my trauma and my my mental health. Um, so so anyways, good lord. Um, in 2020, in January, I got hired in at a daycare in my town, and let me tell you, I'll never work there again. I'd rather go broke and be unemployed and have no money to my name than go back to that place because I have learned that money does not equal happiness, and that place one didn't hardly. I got paid minimum wage there, which whatever. You don't get into childcare and teaching for the money anyways, let's be honest. Um, but I wasn't even sure I wanted to work with kids. I was just like, hey, I don't got to work weekends and I can do my photography. Which sounds very shallow and not like someone that's like, I want you as my kid's teacher. But now I love it. So I went there. I worked there for 6 months. I got hired in like the third or fourth. I want to say maybe the 8th, somewhere in that frame. Before the 10th day of January, though, as the beginning of January. I left the beginning of June. I worked there during the pandemic when it first hit, and let me tell you, like, they did so many licensing violations. Every time someone tells me that they're going to send their kids there, I'm like, no, you're not, because here's why you shouldn't. Which isn't great to like advertise that I do, but who wants to have someone tell you all the good things about a company when they don't have very many good things? And it's something super important, like childcare for young children that don't always have the abilities to say, Mom, this teacher did this to me, or this teacher said this, or this kid did this, or, right? Like, at some point, I can't worry about myself and I have to take care of the children and the children's needs over my own. Now, they can't do nothing to me. They can't come after me. I'm not saying anything that isn't public knowledge. I'm not, right? I ain't here. If you know the place, don't mention it, please, because then that's another can of worms. But I love the company I work for now. And so I worked with a woman who I adore. She's a great friend of mine, and um, her best friend is now my coworker. uh, so when I left my old daycare, I almost said the name. When I left that place, I'll call it hell. When I left hell, I was scared because that was my main source of income. Like, my photography was popping, but it wasn't popping. We're like, I don't have to work a full 40-hour week. Like, and I got used to working. Well, I took the summer off. I'm like, you know what? Like, something's going to land in my lap. Something has to. And I'm like, well, I really like working with kids. So I was talking to my friend, and she's like, "Hey, my coworker or my best friend, her company's hiring for an assistant teacher in their state funded preschool program." I'm like, "No shit. Like, really? Really? Like, I don't got to worry about closing and opening and working a 12-hour day? Like, and I get summers off, I get spring break, I get winter break, I get any breaks that public schools get, I can get too? Sign me up." I interviewed with the company, I applied, and literally the next day I got the call from my director now. And when I tell you I was scared, I was scared. She was super sweet. The interview went great. I think the only problem was I wasn't certified. So I didn't have any credentials. All I had was, I'm a hardworking person that does love kids, and like, hire me please. And they talked with our um ISD person, because with my program I work very closely with the ISD. And with that comes a compliance plan, which states that I will get my certificate, my degree, whatever you want to call it, um, within 6 months of starting employment through the company that I work for now. Like, yeah, I can do that. Let me tell you, that was one of the most stressful. That was a stressful school year. Um, yeah, I don't ever want to relive that school year. It was horrible because, like, we would be virtual. Like, so we'd be in person Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, we would get the call, "Hey, Thursday, you're virtual." What? No. No, 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 no. No. I hated it. And then trying to go to school online was horrible. Trying to teach 4-year-olds online over Zoom. If you're a teacher, you understand that pandemic hurt us, and everyone ever since has said, they're surprised I'm still into teaching after that year because of things that were said to me, done, what have you. Um, and it was just a hard year for everybody involved in teaching, I feel like, because it was that hybrid method, and now we're like, it's fully in person. We ain't going back. And so I did. I got my certificate in 6 months, and it took a little bit longer because the testing sites weren't letting you go up and test until April. So really it was an extended period of time, but I finished all my coursework, all my college work, and everything like that within that 6 month time frame. So they let it slide, which I'm very thankful for. And because they're like, that's out of your control. Like, you can't. Yeah, so they were fine. And last year was one of my favorite years. Um, I loved I love every kid that I teach. I truly do. Like, I'm not being like a liar. I'm not lying to you. I do love every single kid I teach. But last year's group was such a fun group. And I think it's because that was my first official year as a teacher. Because my first year, I called it my student teaching year. And hell, did it teach me a lot of things. But honestly, I think a lot of it was last year was I learned a newfound confidence and was like, I know how to do that. I know how to do that. I can do that for you. Like, right? So I was able to kind of get out of my head a little bit. And this year's been super fun too. I'm already surprised that it's April. Like, I don't know how in the hell it got to be April so fast. But I'm gonna miss this group too. Um, it's just been weird how fast time goes and how slow it goes all at the same time. Like, this year's felt super long and super short all at once. Uh, and I am looking to go back to school for my bachelor's. I was very nervous to tell anybody or let anybody know that, and now I'm like, why? Why do I care? Like, n- that is because I didn't want people to make fun of me or assume that I had ill intentions with it, which I don't know why people would assume that, but that's what my brain told me would happen, is that people would think I have ill intentions. I'm going to gun after their job, or I'm going to take a different position with a different company. And that's not the case. I want to become better to make these kids better. And so now I'm looking to go back to school, which that is a headache all on its own. Let me tell you, there's scholarships out there for teachers, but they're so nitpicky that I can't use any of them because of what I need. So it's like, why do I even try? And like, I called around a few places a couple weeks ago for like information, information on their student loans, and they're like, sorry, we don't lend to students no more. Click. Sorry, we don't do student loans no more because we don't get paid until after you graduate, which in 4 years or 5 years, however long it takes you. Click. Oh, you can take a personal loan out for that. We got an interest rate of 14% right now. I clicked. Um, no, like, I'm not kidding you. And then like they're like, and then another bank, credit union, whatever we want to call it, said, well, you can't take a personal loan out, but if you take a personal loan out, we ask what the personal loan is for. And I said, isn't that none of your business though? And they're like, actually, it is our business. And I'm like, well, but like, a personal loan is for personal reasons. And they're like, yeah, but we still like to know. I'm like, okay, I respect that. That's fine. You do what you gotta do, right? And they said, but you got to put student on there. You got to say you're going back to college for it. You can't lie about it. I'm like, and they're like, and we deny that. And they said, I said, well, do you know of anybody around here that does student loans? And she said, no, you can Google it though, and hung up on me. And let me tell you, I'm not, I don't like to pull out the Karen in me, but oh boy, did she come out. I wrote down her name. I wrote down what branch she worked at, and I'm like, I am so tempted to call your manager and tell them what their loan officer is saying to these people, because my mom works in a bank. My mom's a branch manager. She got all these other letters behind her name. I don't know what the hell any of them mean. She could tell you, but I can't. I'm not that smart. But I've always said, like, Mom, like, I called her and I said, Mom, what would you say if you found out your loan officers are saying this? She said, well, I don't have that much power, but if I was in HR and found that out, they'd be gone, because that's how banks make their money, is those interest rates on their loans or their credit cards or anything like that, their mortgages. Anything that's got an interest rate, that's how the banks can make money. So for this woman to tell me that, I'm like, bro, you got quotas. I feel like everybody's got a quota in any field you go into. There's a quota. And maybe she already hit her, well, I called it in March. So maybe she hit like her March quota already. But like, you could start on your April quota too, couldn't you? Like, to me, I'm all about business, and maybe that's because I'm a business owner. But the way you speak to people, even if you're trying to say no to them, you can still be respectful and say respectfully no with like the heart emoji, like that trend. Remember that? But yeah, no, like that is a thing that people don't get, is you are always allowed to say no. But the best way to say no is respectfully and kindly with a reason. Those three reasons right there. That's how you can keep business coming even if you say no. Just a little fun fact that I've learned over the few years that I've been a business owner. But yeah, I was like, what the hell? So I still don't know how I'm going to get a student loan. I don't know how I'm going to get the money to pay for it. So that, yeah, like, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of like my big thing on teaching is, I was told my whole life that I really wouldn't amount to nothing, and now I'm a business owner and I'm a full-time teacher, and I'm shaping young minds. That's what I have to say to those people that told me that, by the way. A big F you, because I've never been confident, but I am confident in teaching. And that is something that my boss has seen, my other boss has seen, and my co-teacher, my co-worker, whatever we want to call her, she's also seen it. And all of our admin team has seen it, and they're like, you're confident this year. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I know I do good. I know I'm a hard worker. Like, I'll show up to work sicker than a dog. I'll show up sad. I'll show up when I've had the worst day of my life. I'm still showing up and putting on a smile for those kids, because that's what those kids need. I can't afford to be selfish as a teacher. And sometimes I feel like others they don't have that same mindset. And it's not I'm not the type where you have to work past contracted hours to be a good teacher. I don't believe that. I believe the best teachers are the ones that show up and care about those kids at the end of the day. If those kids aren't taught something that day, it sucks. But at least those kids know that they're loved, and that is the biggest thing. At least in the group, like in the field, in the age group, and in the demographic that I teach in, they need to know that they're loved. And they are, by me and by my co-teacher. And it's just, all love in my classroom. Like, I call my classroom my second home. Like, it is homey. I have pictures of these kids printed and put on the walls, and it's just, it's a second home to them. I mean, we spend a lot of time there if you think about it. Like, I am there for 28 hours a week with these kids. Now, that's not a lot of time, but that is for them as a 4-year-old. That's a long time. That many hours a week, that's a part-time gig. That's almost a full-time gig. That is basic, like, right? That is a, yeah, so they need to feel comfortable and welcomed, and they also need to feel comfortable and welcomed in order to learn something. Because if you're like me and have studied trauma in the brain and everything, there's a thing called survival brain, and unfortunately, a lot of kiddos that I get in my classroom are living in that survival brain. I gotta just get to this part of my day. I have to eat. I have to make, like, I didn't eat something this morning, but I'll eat something in a few hours. Like, that's what I'm getting sometimes in this field, and they're never going to learn if they're not safe, and that survival brain can be turned down. So that's kind of my big old thing on teaching. I am a culprit of, I work past contracted hours. I show up before my contracted hours start. I don't leave until after they end. I work on my breaks, like my spring break, my winter break. I work over summer break sometimes too. But that's not what makes me a good teacher, I don't think. I think it's just who I am in my heart and my soul. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of what makes me a good teacher. I think the rest of it's just a bonus for my employers and the kids, you know. I think that's just a bonus. So, yeah, that's kind of it about teaching. I don't have as much of a backstory with that as I do with my photography business, because I haven't been doing it as long as I have been doing my photography business. And the horror stories, I don't feel comfortable telling you about teaching, because I want to respect as much of those kids and families and my coworkers' privacies as much as possible. So, yeah, that's kind of it for the teaching. I guess I can kind of talk a little bit about what else I was thinking about talking about, which was one of my passions. I figured I could kind of touch on, like, the three big things that shape me as a person in like 3 episodes. Well, the teaching's not going to be a full, like, a super long one, and neither is my passion one, which is music. So why not just put them together and kind of talk about both of them? So here we go. Welcome. I'm just kidding. Because we already did the welcome BS. So I love music. Okay, bye. I'm just kidding. I'm feeling some sort of way right now. My throat's starting to hurt. Like, I gotta wrap this up soon, because filming 2 of these back to back like this is not good. Because I didn't take any I didn't take any break to get a drink of water or anything in between these, but it's fine. I'll be fine. I'll be I'll be fine. No. So, music is something that I'm super super passionate about. If you know me, you know. I love every type of music. I don't, you get in my car, we're jumping from country to rap to hip hop to sad R&B to 2000s country to 2000s R&B, and then we're jumping to, God, what other kind of musics are there? Pop, Taylor Swift. Then we're jumping to screamo, Metallica, all that, and then we're jumping back to country. I don't really care what we listen to, as long as we don't listen to silence. If I'm driving home from work and silence, it has been a bad day. It has been a day from hell. So, I my favorite genre of music is country. I grew up on country music. It's just what I know and I love, and I love it so much. I love the meaning behind a lot of country songs. They all seem to tell a story, which most music does, but to me, country music just speaks a little bit more to me. And so, like, I guess we can talk about um, some of my favorite artists. My top, I have a top three that I will listen to no matter what, and it is Hardy. He's a country rock artist. He's written a lot of songs for a lot of artists, but he's now doing his own, which amazing. He's a great storyteller, and I think that's why I love him so much. Number 2 is Lainey Wilson. If you know me, you knew that one was gonna come out. I have clothes back here. I don't know if you can see the rack of clothes I got behind me, but I have a pair of pants that she designed, I think, or made or something. Somehow they are from her, though. I got a hat. I got a couple t-shirts that say Bell Bottom Country. Like, I'm a Bell Bottom Country girl. She is my idol. She is who I aspire to look like, to sound like, and to be like. And my third, I have to go with. Okay, I got 2 threes. Okay, so just bear with me. Cody Johnson, who is a country artist. They're all kind of country, but my second third is Jelly Roll. I bet you didn't see that. Maybe you did see that coming. Bet you didn't though. I love Jelly Roll, man. I don't know, something about him just. Sorry for headphone users. I should have gave you a warning. I didn't. I just think he is just. I think down to his core, he is a nice, nice teddy bear man. That's just what I think. Cause like his name, first of all, is Jelly Roll. Who doesn't love a jelly roll? I love jelly donuts. Kinda. I'm a picky eater. But you get what I'm saying. Like, and like I watch his wife, Bunny, on TikTok. Oh my god. She's hilarious. That woman cracks me up. Like, I just seen a TikTok today. Sorry, my pants are bugging the hell out of me. I seen a TikTok today where she said something about people aren't going to ever think my husband is country enough unless he. Oh my god, now I feel like I have to find it. I have TikTok on my iPad. I think I do. I'm just going to have to like hurry up and mute the sound or something. Oh, my account. Can I just like not sign in? Can I just maybe just not? Like, can I just scroll through TikTok? Come on, let me just. But she posted TikTok and can I just not? Like, don't people let you just scroll anymore? God, why do you always gotta have an account? I don't matter what my account is. But she said something along the lines, I think I signed up through my Google account. I don't know. I love Face ID. I truly do. Oh, sign me up. No, wrong. This is not. Maybe I signed in through Apple. So, but back to how the hell did I sign up? Oh, I'm gonna get a code. Are you kidding me? Oh, stop. You didn't hear that. YouTube, you didn't hear that. I should turn the sound off on my stupid iPad. I'm not wanting to find my Facebook friends. Sorry. Oh my god. Why am I going to go through my likes? Why can't I just search her? My brain's not working. So, anyways, though, she posted a TikTok. Okay, nope, that's not it. I swear she's got a few different accounts though. So that's what's hard for me is. But she was talking about Jelly Roll at the CMT Awards. And let me tell you, his reaction to winning, which he rightfully deserved that win, was so freaking sweet and so heartfelt and just, oh my God. Like, I just love it. Let me see. Oh, right here. Okay. Um, I'll because I'm always scared of like a copyright thing, so I'll just read it to you. So, would my husband's music be country enough if he played the harmonica with his asshole and plucked the banjo strings with his ball sack? That right there killed me. It was so funny. Um, I don't know. Him and his wife seem to be very happy, right? I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but Jelly Roll just seems like such a kind soul. And he just like his reaction to winning. God, what one? What award was it? I just hit another activity goal on my watch. He won a certain award though, and she like narrated his reaction to it. And oh my God, was it so sweet. Like I cried. Um, but he just seems like he's been through a lot in his life and he's finding peace and that just brings me happiness. That's kind of like I love Cody Johnson too because he seems like a sweet soul and I feel like all of these artists play a certain role of who I am. Not no, that doesn't mean what I'm trying for it to mean. Like Jelly Roll represents like a lot of my trauma, my past, my mental health. Cody Johnson to me is like a he represents like my religion and my spirituality with God and my relationship with God. Lainey Wilson is just my mood. Like who I am personality wise, I feel me and her are very similar. And then Hardy is a hype music, like he's hype music for me, but he's also the creative storytelling part of me that I like to do. And yeah, that's kind of deep, but it also wasn't. um, but yeah, I mean, I love all those artists. I think my favorite. So I'll tell you my favorite song from each of those artists too. My favorite song by Hardy. We're gonna have to circle back around. I gotta think on that one because three of them, four of them came to mind with Hardy. Lainey Wilson, hands down, is "Hold My Halo." That is my jam. When I tell you that that is my hype song, that is a song that I feel down to my core. That's my song. It talks about always being a good girl, working like a dog. You always are working. You're just you're tired of being this sweet little angel. You're going to let this girl out and you're not going to be that sweet little angel for that night. And you're telling that angel to hold the halo and wait until tomorrow morning. Cody Johnson. Oh shit. That one's hard too. I'd say my favorite song by Cody Johnson is By Your Grace. That is one of his best songs. But Dear Rodeo's up there too. I love both of them, but I think I like to sing. I like to sing Dear Rodeo, but to worship and praise the Lord Jesus, it is By Your Grace because that is just who I am. Jelly Roll. Mm, mm, this is hard because even with Lainey Wilson, like She got a lot of good songs. They all got great songs. But Lainey Wilson, I know. Because that's the one. If someone tells me, what Lainey Wilson song do you want to listen to right now? I'm like, that one. I could be in a bad mood. I could be in a great mood. I could be crying. I could be happy. I could be peaceful. But Jelly Roll, he hits me where my feels are. And the first song I heard from him was his song called Save Me. And that one, I still have listened to it and I still cry. I'm going to cry right now. Why am I crying? I think because I felt that on a different level than I intended to. When I heard it, I was in a very dark, dark place. And now I really I like Son of a Sinner. That one's a really good one. Yeah, those two are my top two for him. Hardy, we're just gonna hear all four. I think my favorite Hardy song though is "Give Heaven Some Hell." I think a lot of people, if they know that song, they know who Hardy is. If they know who Hardy is, they know that song. But on his new album that he just released, "The Mockingbird and the Crow," he released a song. Oh my god, what is the title to that one? "Drink One for Me," I think. Let me see. I'm gonna find out. You can tell what phases I go through when I go through my music. Yes, "Drink One for Me." That one, so "Give Heaven Some Hell" reminds me of my mom's best friend who passed away when I was 8. I watched it all happen. Um, that's his song in my book. I have certain songs that remind me of people, and that song reminds me of him. And so when I'm sad and thinking about him, I'll listen to that song. And the "Drink One for Me" is from the person. So in "Give Heaven Some Hell," he's singing about his friend that passed away and talking about, "When I see you again, like until then, give heaven some hell. Um, but down here we'll be holding it down," or so, along those lines. That. But "Drink One for Me" is from the friend that passed away's perspective, and oh my god, when I learned that, like, it broke me in the best way. And that's why I love his storytelling, because that man knows how to tell a story through music, and it's so freaking beautiful. And then I love, 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 love. Okay, I think I might got 5. I'm just gonna tell you every single song I like. Um, Another good storytelling song is "Wait in the Truck" with him and Lainey Wilson. That one will get me. I watched my mom live through a domestic violence relationship, and yeah, that one, when I showed it to her, me and her both held each other and cried. It was a very traumatizing time in our life, and when that song came out, I mean, granted, it's been years now that that's been gone, but yeah, that one's a really good one. I love "The Mockingbird and the Crow." I love it because I get the taste of both worlds. It's like Hannah Montana, but with my favorite artist. I get the country side of him, and then I get the rock side of him. And then I love Jack. Jack is single-handedly one of the best songs I've heard in a long time. Um, I don't know. The story behind it isn't meant to be a hype song, but the beat is so hypey that I'm just like, yeah, like, because that's how it is. And then just for shits and giggles, I love Radio Song, and if you listen to Radio Song, you know why I love it, because it's not what you're expecting. But yeah, so those are kind of like my favorite artists. Why they're my favorite artists? Some of their best songs. Someone who I've always loved and that is very popular right now, Kelsey Ballerini. I've loved her since the beginning of her career in music, just so you know. Her new album though, Rolling Up the Welcome Mat. Chills. Chills. Let me tell you. And for her to go on SNL. You know where I'm going with this, and go. You would have searched the whole world over? Yeah, sure. Okay. Dead. I died. I loved it. I'm all for exposing people for doing horrible things to you. Let it be known. If they're going to sit here and spiel lies, that might be his truth, but we deserve to hear her truth and vice versa. And we can make up our own opinions. But I'm Team Kelsey over here, in case you were curious. I love that. And this is gonna probably rub some people the wrong way. I love how at the CMT Awards, she sang her, oh my god, what is the title of that song though? If you go down, I'm going down too. That song with drag queens because people are trying to ban drag shows in states. When she did that, I'm like, my queen, my queen. She said, you want to know my stance? Here it is. Sorry about that. Ugh, I don't like getting phone calls during the podcast because then it throws me off and it throws everything off. But yeah, I love Kelsey Ballerini for doing that and saying, this is my stance. And she did her whole like a mic drop moment, which you know how I feel about mic drops. But yeah, that's kind of it. Sorry for the jump cut that's going to be in this podcast because I'm pissed off now about it. I want them to be just single clips. If I wanted there to be jump cuts, then I would just be a vlogger that talked all the time. I wouldn't make a podcast. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you had fun, got some giggles, and I hope that I get to talk to you again next week. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, your week, your month, your weekend, whatever it may be. I hope you have a great rest of it. And yes, thank you again for watching, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Okay, bye! Mini mic drop.